Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR Official 24 channel. Summer's final letter landed in Kyle's hands. It was like the air just stopped. People were shocked. They could not believe what was happening. The heartbreak was so bad that even the strongest people would have fallen apart. Summer's final letter was really something that caused a lot of pain for Kyle. When Kyle opened the pages, he found out the truth about Claire. This truth had been hidden for months. People had been lying to him, telling him half of the story. Now Kyle knew everything. The words on the pages really hurt him. They hurt more than if someone had cut him with a sword. Kyle was crying. The things Summer had said were really sinking in. The truth about Claire was very sad. Kyle was crying because of what Summer had said about Claire. The letter was really getting to Kyle. Each line of the letter seemed to echo the weight of every secret ever kept in Genoa City. This was a lot for Kyle to deal with. The letter was unearthing the betrayals Kyle had unknowingly endured. It was also talking about the manipulations he had fallen prey to. Then there were the illusions of trust he had built around Claire. These illusions are now shattered like glass. The weight of truth is what shattered them. Kyle had to face the truth about Genoa City and the people in it like Claire. The truth was hard to accept. The letter did not just show mistakes that Claire made. It showed the things Claire did on purpose, the fake smiles she gave people, and the secret reasons she did everything. This made Kyle think about all the lies Claire told and how they were all connected. Kyle's mind was moving fast as he tried to figure out the difference between the Claire he thought he knew and the real Claire that Summer said she was. The real Claire was not the person Kyle thought she was. His hands were shaking really badly as he held the paper. His heart was beating loud. It felt like everyone in the Abbott mansion could hear it. The Abbott mansion was a place, but he felt like they could all hear his heart beating. Each word on the paper was like a knife cutting through the trust he used to have. It made him feel really hurt and weak and totally broken. The words on the paper were about the Abbott mansion and the people in it. Memories of the past with Claire, the laughter they had, the times they were close, and the moments they were tender all came back to him. It was like watching a movie. It was not a happy one. Now he saw everything in a way because of what Claire did. He felt betrayed and confused. He thought about every time Claire smiled at him, every word she said, and every time she looked at him. He was not sure what was real and what was not. Memories of Claire and the time they spent together kept playing in his mind, making him question everything about Claire. Summer said goodbye in a sad way. She wrote a letter to Kyle. This letter was not about telling the truth. It was about warning him and taking care of him. She wanted to protect him. She put all her feelings into this letter. It was her way of showing Kyle that she loved him. She was honest with him even if it was hard to hear. She did this because she wanted to save Kyle from getting hurt more. Summer wanted Kyle to be okay. The letter was very honest. It would hurt Kyle. In the end, it would help Kyle because Summer loved him and did not want him to get hurt anymore. Summer wrote this letter to Kyle because she cared about him. As Kyle read on, the truth about Claire's actions became really hard to accept. He found out about her alliances and the manipulations that she had set up behind closed doors. Everything came together to reveal a truth about Claire's actions that Kyle did not see coming. This revelation about Claire's actions was so shocking that Kyle felt like the ground was moving under his feet. The room started spinning around him. It was like Genoa City was getting back at him for trusting Claire's actions, without question. The letter was very clear and easy to understand, just like Summer always writes. It was really hard for him to read. It showed him that Claire was not being honest. She was pretending to be one way. Really, she was being deceitful. He started crying. He could not stop. He felt sad and angry and helpless all at the time. The truth about Claire's betrayal was very painful for him. It was like he had been punched in the chest, and he could not breathe. The fact that Claire had lied to him was crushing him. He was stuck in a shock and sadness, and it was hard for him to deal with the letter from Summer about Claire. The letter from Summer about Claire was really affecting him. Friends and family would have known something was very wrong with him if they had seen him at that moment. His face showed how completely devastated he was. This was the boy who had loved with all his heart and trusted people totally. Now he was a man who was struggling to understand that trust can be broken easily. He was hurt by people who lied to him and manipulated him. It was very painful for him to find out that the person he thought was closest to him could do bad things. The person he trusted had lied to him on purpose, had done it in a very cruel way. The boy who had loved blindly was now a man who was dealing with a lot of heartache. His trust had been. It was hard for him to accept that the person he loved could hurt him like that. Kyle felt really bad. His heart was broken. He felt like he had lost something important. Even with all this sadness, Kyle started to understand something. Summer's letter was very hard for him to read. It was also helpful. It was like a rope that could pull him out of the darkness. The letter was trying to show Kyle the truth even if it was not a truth. It was trying to wake him up from the things that were not real. Summer's letter was pointing Kyle in the direction towards the things he needed to know even if it hurt him to know them. The letter was like a sign that said, "This is what you need to see, Kyle." He read the sentences over and over. He wanted to understand everything. He looked for the meaning behind the words. He tried to find the warnings that were not directly said. Kyle was trying to remember the way Summer showed her love. He wanted to remember how she protected him and was brave. Each part of what he read was like a problem. It made Kyle think about his thoughts and feelings. He had to face things about himself that he did not want to think about. He had to think about how he made decisions and how easily he could be fooled. Kyle had to deal with the fact that relationships in Genoa City were complicated and sometimes hurtful. Summer's love and protection were important to him. He wanted to be brave like her. The relationships in Genoa City were difficult to understand. When Kyle thought about the times he spent with Claire, they did not seem nice anymore. There were things that bothered him, but he ignored them or made excuses. Now Summer had pointed out these things. It was clear that Claire was not honest. Summer wrote a letter that explained what Claire did, why she did it, and what she was thinking. The letter showed Kyle that Claire was not truthful, and this made him feel very upset. He was trying to understand what happened. At the same time, he was sad because he thought he knew Claire and loved her, and he thought she loved him too, but now he was not so sure. Kyle felt like he lost something he thought would always be there, and that was a hard thing for him to deal with. Memories of Claire now seemed bad. Kyle was still trying to figure out what really happened. Claire's actions as Summer explained them made Kyle wonder how he could have been so wrong about her. Just when he thought things could not get any worse, Summer said something that changed everything. Her words stopped being about revealing the truth and started to be about helping him. She mixed the sadness of what happened with a little bit of hope. This hope was that Kyle could come out of this situation stronger and wiser. He could finally be free from the people who had been manipulating him. This was what Kyle wanted, even if it was going to hurt him a lot. The cost of being free was going to be very high. Kyle could finally be free from the manipulation that had been controlling him. He sat down on the floor, the letter shaking in his hand. He could not understand how Summer, who had always been honest with him, could hurt him much. At the same time, she had given him something big, the truth about Claire. Every time he cried, every time his heart beat with pain, it reminded him that the truth is powerful. It also reminded him that loving someone who lies can be very painful. Summer was the one person he thought he could always trust. Now he knew the truth about Claire. It was all because of Summer. The letter in his hand was from Summer. It had changed everything. The room felt really small. It was hard to breathe. The walls seemed like they were moving in on Kyle. He was feeling a lot of emotions all at once. Kyle felt shock and grief and anger and confusion. Kyle also felt betrayal. Kyle felt something else too, which was strange. Kyle felt a quiet thank you toward Summer. Summer had told Kyle the truth even if it was hard to hear. He had no idea how he would face Claire again. What could he even say to her? Could they ever make things right between them? One thing was for sure. Summer's letter had changed him in a way. He was different now. Summer's letter had made him wiser about people who were not honest. He knew now that trust is a fragile thing, especially in a place like Genoa City. Summer's letter had really opened his eyes to this. And in the silence that followed, after the tears had subsided and the storm of emotion left him physically and emotionally exhausted, Kyle finally allowed himself a single, shuddering breath, a whispered acknowledgement of Summer's courage, and the unspoken promise to himself that he would never again be blindsided by someone he loved, even as the echoes of Claire's betrayal threatened to haunt him forever. Kyle stayed on the floor for a time after the initial shock had worn off. His body was shaking badly because of what Summer had said. It felt like her words were actually hitting him in the chest. He was totally falling apart. It was hard for him to deal with the memories he loved and the harsh truth that Summer's letter had told him. Kyle was stuck between these memories and the mean things Summer had written in her letter. Each paragraph and each sentence stuck in his mind like a memory that would not go away. These thoughts were about Claire. They made him see her in a different way. She was sneaky and cold. He thought about times that used to feel real, like when she touched his arm, or when they laughed together at jokes, or when they talked late at night, and it all felt very honest. Now, when he thought about it, all of those things seemed fake, like she was just pretending. He was the person she was pretending for. Summer made him see all of this clearly. It was hard for him to accept that Claire was so good at deceiving him. The thing that hurt Kyle the most was not what she did, but the kind of person he thought she was. It felt like he did not know her all. This was a big deal for Kyle because he felt like he lost the person he was close to and also a part of himself. He had trusted her completely. Now that trust was broken and it could not be fixed. Kyle felt like the person he thought she was a lie, and this made him feel really bad about the Kyle he thought he was because he had trusted her much, and she was the partner he had chosen. The words in the letter were really clear. They made Kyle think about all the lies Claire told. She had manipulated people, made secret deals with others. The letter made all of this very clear. Kyle could not ignore it. He remembered the way Summer talked. She was always calm and straightforward. He could almost hear her saying that he was blind to what was going on. She would tell him that it does not matter how much you love someone, you cannot excuse the fact that they lied to you. The letter and Summer's words made Kyle think about the fact that love's not enough to make everything okay when someone, like Claire, deceives you. Every memory of Claire and him played back in his mind like a movie. The way Claire smiled at him while keeping secrets, the quiet promises she made that were not true, the close feelings they had that he thought were real, all taken apart by Summer's handwritten notes. His heart hurt a lot as he read each word, the paper trembling in his hands, tears falling down his face as he felt the weight of Claire's betrayal. It felt like a thick cloud had covered his heart and would not go away. Every memory of Claire and him was now painful because of what Summer had written. Kyle tried to think of a reason to find something that might make him feel a little better. Summer had said it straight out, no way to get around it. Just the plain truth that hurt more than anything Kyle had ever been through. The truth was hard for Kyle to hear. It was like nothing he had ever experienced before. It made him feel really bad. Summer had told Kyle the truth. It was very painful for him. Memories of the past and what is happening now are all mixed up in Kyle's head. He feels really confused and upset. Kyle remembers when he first told Claire how he really felt. He was very open with her. He felt like he could trust her. Now he feels like he made a mistake. Everything they shared, all the secrets, and the times they said they loved each other, it all feels fake now. Kyle's mind is moving fast. He is thinking about a lot of things, and he is very sad and angry. He keeps thinking about how he did not see this coming. Memories of Claire and their time together are still in Kyle's head. He is thinking about what happened with Claire. It is making him feel sick. Kyle is trying to understand how this happened. How could the person he loved much do something so bad to him? The person he loved did a bad thing to him. What really hurts is that Summer, the person who always told him what was right and wrong, did not tell him the whole truth until now. Summer was like a guide to him, always telling him what to do. The fact that Summer was brave enough to tell him the truth, and that she had to go through a lot of pain to do it, makes him feel very sad and thankful at the time. He feels sad because of what happened, thankful to Summer for telling him, and helpless because he does not know what to do. Summer and her actions are making him feel all these things. He felt really upset with Claire and bad about not listening to Summer's feelings. This made him feel two ways at the same time. He was angry and sad. These feelings were equally strong. Summer's instincts were something he should have paid attention to sooner, and not doing so made him feel terrible. He was furious with Claire. At the same time, he was broken and feeling guilty about what happened. The feelings of anger and guilt were tearing him apart. He did not know how to deal with them. As the minutes turned into hours, Kyle's mind started thinking about what Claire's betrayal meant. He thought about all the things she had done to trick people. Not him, but also everyone else who believed in her. Kyle thought about how many people in Genoa City had fallen for her tricks, without knowing it. The more he thought about Claire's betrayal, the more it made him really angry. He thought about Claire's betrayal and how it affected everyone. Claire's betrayal was a deal to Kyle. Jack and Phyllis and even Billy were all part of this game that was going on all over the city. Claire was different. She did things with a lot of style. She was very mean about it. This really surprised him. He could almost hear Summer talking to him again. She was saying that knowing things is what gives you power. It is hard to hear the truth. If he really understood what Claire was doing to trick him, then he would be able to protect himself later on. Claire was very good at this game. He needed to be careful. Claire had played the game well, and he had to think about what Claire had done. Kyle clenched his fists. The paper got all crumpled up. This was because he was really angry and sad. The truth was hard for Kyle to hear. It also made him feel a little better. Kyle was struggling with this. The paper was messed up now, just like Kyle's feelings. The truth hurt Kyle. It also set him free, like Kyle was finally able to breathe again. He thought about the big fight they had. Claire had done a job of making him wonder if he was right or wrong. She had taken his words, turned them around. She had made him question what he really thought. Now that he had read Summer's letter, he could see what was really going on. It showed him that Claire had planned everything. Every little smile and everything she did was not as innocent as it seemed. Every sentence she said was meant to make him do what she wanted. Claire had used all these things to control him and make him feel confused. In the end, she had hurt him badly. He could see now that Claire had been playing with him the time. The betrayal was complete. There was no in-between. Summer had written down all the lies and the ways she had manipulated people. Kyle felt very sad when he realized what had happened. He had loved someone who was not real. This person had only pretended to love him to get what she wanted. Now Kyle was very upset and confused. He was already in a city where people were often sneaky and hurt each other. The city was a place to be when you were feeling sad and confused like Kyle was. The betrayal by the person he loved was very hard for Kyle to deal with. The letter had some warnings and hints about what might happen in the future. It told Kyle to be careful and trust his instincts. The letter also said that Kyle should never let someone he loves hurt him again. This was a hard thing for Kyle to read. The letter was like a gift that was sad and helpful at the time. Kyle understood that Summer was trying to help him in her way. She was trying to protect Kyle from getting hurt. Summer did this by telling the truth about Claire. Even though it was very painful for Kyle, Summer was trying to keep him safe. The letter from Summer was a way to shield Kyle from harm. It was a way to protect him, but Summer did it anyway. The weight of Summer's sacrifice was really something. It took a lot of courage for Summer to face the truth like that. This made Kyle feel grateful and sad at the time. Kyle knew that Summer did this because she loved him and wanted to save him from getting hurt more. Summer wanted to protect Kyle even if the truth was very hard to hear. Hours went by. The city outside just kept going like nothing was wrong, but Kyle could not stop thinking about the letter. He was stuck. He could not say a word. The letter was all he could think about. It just kept playing over and over in his head, making him feel like he had been betrayed. Every time he thought about Claire, it hurt. He was not sure what was real and what was not when he thought about their memories together. Even though he was really down, Kyle started to feel a little stronger. He was starting to feel like he could get through this. The city outside was still moving. Kyle was finally starting to move on too, and he was thinking about Claire and the letter in a different way. Summer's words were really sad. They also showed him how to get his life back on track. He could start to trust people and become stronger. Summer's words helped him to see things clearly so he could deal with the tough people in Genoa City. The letter she wrote was very honest. It hurt, but it made him think about what he needed to do. It was a moment that would change how he interacted with people, the choices he made, and how he understood the complicated things that happened in Genoa City, the place where he grew up. Kyle slowly got up from the floor. He was really tired. His face was messy from crying. He felt very upset inside. Now Kyle had to think about what to do with his relationship with Claire. He would have to talk to Claire and ask her some questions. Kyle wanted to know what happened. He needed to figure out if he and Claire could